Hello everyone, welcome back. So we have seen how Intune can be used to enroll a Windows 10 device, and then we have also seen BitLocker encryption enablement on a Windows 10 device using Intune. Today we'll look at how we can enroll an iOS device. So in today's session we will be configuring the basic device enrollment, and then it could be a lengthy video because there are so much to cover on an iOS or a device enrollment. So I'm planning to cover a few things like how to do a basic device enrollment, how to get your email configured automatically on an Intune enrolled devices. So I'm on Intune page. The first thing is to go to device enrollment and then click on Apple enrollment. Now to manage this MDM, you need to have an MDM push certificate from Apple. What I've done is I've created an Apple ID ahead of time to save some time. All you have to do is click on Apple MDM push certificate, accept the agreement, download the CSR. Now you will get a CSR file, copy the CSR file, and then you create your MDM push certificate. This will take you to an Apple website where you need to log in with your Apple ID and password. So I'm already logged in with the account that I'm using now, and then all you need to do is create a certificate, agree, and then accept that, and then here you need to upload the file that you just downloaded now. Upload. So you got the CSR uploaded. You can download the certificate from here now. Save that file. And then go back here and then enter your Apple ID here first. So I'll enter my Apple ID and then browse the MDM certificate. Okay, browse certificate and upload the file. So this way you're using an Apple certificate to push to iOS devices. Your MDM successfully created. MDM push certificate was successfully created. Let's close this and then close this. There you go. So you have your MDM push certificate active. Always need to make sure that this expire after 1 year. So keep a note on this, add it to your calendar, make sure that you don't lose or you don't let it expire. You will have problems with the Intune enrollment after that. So that's how you create your MDM push certificate. So now that you have your push certificate, we'll move on to the next option. Now for Apple configurations, there are few options that you can use. One is using Apple configurator, which needs usually a Mac device and then connect all the device and bulk enrollment. There is something called device enrollment program from Apple, which is Apple DEP. Unfortunately, Apple DEP was not available in this region, and then it's still a lengthy process. So we will rely to the old school manual device enrollment for now. So since now that you have configured your Apple push certificate, there are a few things you can look at. One is your enrollment restrictions. By default, Intune gives access to any devices that you want to enroll. If you want to restrict, let's say only corporate devices to be enrolled through Intune, all you have to do is to disable the personally owned devices activation. So let's say I'm allowing iOS device. You can even block devices that you don't want to enroll. So for example, you can block Mac OS. If you are not using Mac on your enterprise and you don't want anyone from on their personal Mac activating company resources, you can block the devices here. Also, you can block personally owned devices. So in this case we will just block iOS personally owned devices. Now, how does the system knows that you are using a corporate device or a personal device? That's where corporate device identifiers comes in. Here here the option is to upload your serial number or IMEI number, and then you can add the device to this list, which makes the device a corporate device identifier. That's how Intune decides whether the device is configured. So once this is all set, your first step would be, whenever you need to add a new device, you add the serial number so that it will be identified as a corporate device. So let me get my serial number and I'll add it here now. I am using an iPad, so I will get the serial number of the device and then I'll try to add it here now. Okay, so you click on add. You can do a CSV file upload if you want to do bulk addition of corporate devices, or you can just use manually add. I use the serial number, enter the serial number, so, and I say test. So this is just like a username or a first name of that person. That's how you identify the device. So you just add the serial number to the device, to the Intune, and then that's how the device should be recognized as corporate. So we're just adding an entry, making sure that the device is available, and whenever it enrolls, it identifies the serial number and say yes, this is a corporate device. Give them access to the resources. So we have done the corporate device identifier. Now you can also set device limit restrictions if you want. I've kept my limit as 15. So if you think that your company devices that you give to the users, they should only they should only use, let's say, 2 devices or 3 devices, you can restrict the numbers here. So we have covered our Apple enrollment. Now enrollment restrictions, we blocked our personal devices on iOS, and we also added our device to corporate device identifier. Now let's go back to the next section, which is compliance. You can set up compliance policy, and you can let Intune check this compliance every time, and then if there is a compliance checks, like for example, let's go iOS device compliance, give it a name, platform is iOS, and then here you can say the mobile devices to have managed profile, email profile, they should have an email profile, or you could say if a jailbroken device, block the device, and then you could choose that the device should have a minimum iOS version or a build version, and then also say some security, like they should have a password to unlock the mobile devices. With these conditions, if the device doesn't have these conditions, you can set an action for non-compliance. So it's a good practice to have some sort of restriction, some sort of compliance checks available or set on Intune, so that your devices are protected with the things like passwords and right versions and stuff, things like that. So I'll use require, and then a minimum password length, let's say I'll keep it 4, and then required password type, I think a simple password, I'll just keep it as is, and then I'll keep minimum password length as 4, and I'll keep the password as numeric for the time being to make it very simple. So a 4-digit numeric password is required, and I'll select this, click this OK, and then on action for non-compliance, you can mark the device as non-compliant immediately, or you can set the device to be non-compliant, let's say in 3 days or 5 days, whatever that your organization needs. You can also set an option to email to the user and then set up a notification saying, for example, your device is not compliant, please contact your IT department. So that's an option. I'm not setting it because I need to set a template notification and then come back and then add the template here. So I'm not setting anything for now. And I'm creating this policy. So we have created a compliance policy, and then we will assign this to a set of Microsoft Intune. Mostly we have seen that on Windows as well. It's better to create a group and then assign the groups for all these activities. So I'm going to create an iOS group now where I can add devices later on. So I'm going to create security group called IT Squad -iOS devices group. Members, I'm adding myself, my test account. You need to make sure that your user also has an Intune license to start with. So you have created a compliance policy. Now let's look at create a device configuration policy. Device configuration, let's say IT Squad iOS device config. Platform is iOS, select config type. So I'll just walk you through the different options and then we'll set something. So device features, you can select whether AirPrint or the home screen layout you can choose. There are some settings that is supervised mode only. Supervised mode means you need to have an Apple configurator to configure the device in supervised mode, so you get better control onto the devices. We are not using supervised mode at the moment. Device restrictions, there's a lot of settings that you can choose here. So basically you can if there is any wallpaper modification, or you can block app. As I said, most of these features needs a supervised device, and then you can set your passwords. You can set this is the password, for example. So the first one we have seen is a compliance policy with the similar passwords. It only checks if the device has those things. Now what I'm setting now is enforcing the password policies when a device get enrolled. So it's a required, and we'll keep numeric passwords for now. Minimum password length should be 4. Password expiration, I'm not setting anything for now. We will allow Touch ID and Face ID unlock, and then all other things are supervised, so I'm not touching any of this. So we just set a 4-digit simple password. So what should happen is, after you enroll your Intune, your device to Intune, you should be prompted to set this 4-digit password. So we'll set that. Let me just look at this if I need to do something here. I don't think so. Okay. And then lock screen experience. As I said, there is a lot that you can configure here. You can block App Store again on supervised mode only, and then you can require iTunes store password for all purchases, in-app purchases. You can block corporate documents in unmanaged apps. So for example, let's say you have a document on your Outlook or in OneDrive, and then you don't want this to be allowed in a different viewer other than your corporate applications like Word, Excel. You can block it here. You can also play around with the built-in apps. You can block Siri if you want, podcast, music service, any of these things you can restrict. So there's a lot of tightly granular restrictions available, both supervised and non-supervised devices. And you can play along with this and then find out what's the right option to use. So I'm not adding anything more. All I just did was to add the password, and I'm adding the device restrictions. It's better to have the name iOS device restriction config. So this way later on you will know exactly what each profile or each setting is for. So I'm creating a device restriction for iOS. I would also want to create an email profile. So this is created. Again, I can assign this to the same group that we created just now, which will be the iOS group. It is called iOS devices. So the moment I add my device to this group, or I'm added to this group, so the moment I start installing company portal, I can start enrolling. I'll create one more profile for email. So this way, if you are on Office 365 email, you can configure this automatically onto your mobile. So let's say IT squad iOS email profile. Outlook.office365.com. So you're saying username is your principal name, email address is your primary SMTP address. You can set your username and password, enable SSL 1 month to sync emails. Allow messages to be moved to other email accounts, will disable this. Allow email to be sent from third-party applications, will disable this. Synchronize recently used email addresses, will disable this. So with this, you should be able to, as soon as you enroll your device, that device should get access to your email, that assigned user profile's email. So we have done some basic configurations. Now I need to go back to my iPad, and then the basic requirement is you need to have an Apple ID registered, and then from the App Store install an app called Company Portal. So now we install Intune Company Portal on iPad, and then let's see how this can configure with my Intune device registration. So I'm going to install my Intune Company Portal. We'll open the Comp portal now. So I'm gonna test. So I've logged in to my company portal, and here you go. So now it is going to enroll this device to my Intune portal. So it basically says download management profile, install management profile, and update device settings. So it will download the iOS profile first. Let's begin. it gives you a small note on what IT team, as and once you enroll the device, what they can do and what they can't do. So this is just a nice way of informing the user. If they are enrolling it, they see what the team can do, what the IT team has control on, because that's something what people are always bothered about, like what you can see and what can you not see. So that's a small note. We continue. We allow to download the management profile. This takes you to the portal.manage.microsoft.com website, and it says if the website is trying to download a configuration, you select allow. The profile is downloaded. So starting iOS 12.2, I guess, the profile installation just downloads the file, and you have to manually go to your settings, and then you should see profile downloaded option on your settings. Here you select install, enter your key and install the profile. Install, trust remote management, and let the certificate enrollment. So this is a certificate we just generated using Apple account, and let device manage. So you can see a management profile available here, and all the profile certificates that's installed will be shown here. Now let's go back to the Intune portal and then continue this. That's it, it's done. Click done, and then you get push notification. You enable push notification for that. You will see here on your company portal what devices that you have registered previously. So these are the computers that have been registering, and then now we have the iPad that's registered now. So just to make sure that if there's any compliance issue, it didn't pop up or didn't say anything about not having a compliance, because I already have a 4-digit PIN code. So if you say check settings, it's already in compliant, because all I've asked was adding the profile or adding the 4-digit code, which is already there. You can see the ownership as corporate, and that's how you enroll your device. Few things before I move on to the next section is, like, once you publish your apps, you can see the app list here. This is like your company store. So let's say if you can have an option like you can block app store and then control application installation through the app store here. So you can publish any iOS application that is available in Apple Store and then publish it here. You have options to either mandatory install, that means there's an option called required, which means even if they remove the app, it will come back again. Or you can just publish it on the portal and then let users install it on their own. You can manage your devices. These are my old devices and my profile. I'll just remove the device. So this is how you manage your profile, your devices. I can remove this device as well. Perfect. And then if you want to get support, you can click support from there. Any notifications will be shown here, and then basic terms and conditions and such. So that's how your device get enrolled. Now let's go back to Intune and then find out what's next. So I'm here on Intune. I'm going to devices. In devices, you will see with the list of Windows devices, you will see the iPad as well now. Let's look at all devices. And I should be seeing my iPad here. There you go. So the device is compliant. You can manage the device from here. You can sync if there is any settings that needs to be updated. You can remove the passcode. So let's do this now. Let's remove the passcode. Yes. Go back to the Windows and then let's see if the passcode will be removed now. I'm locking the device. And the passcode is removed. So there's no passcode now. What we'll do now is we'll just go to devices and then check settings. This should prompt me that there is no password now, and then set your own PIN, because there's a compliance policy to confirm that. So I'm just waiting for this device compliance. The screen connector that I was using got disconnected, so I'm just connecting it back again. Okay, you should see now that I get a prompt that I need to set an iPad unlock code. So this is how you can set compliance, and then if people doesn't follow or the user doesn't follow, you can put them in non-compliant state. So I'm clicking on continue, and then I need to set a new digit code. I'm just setting 1 2 3 4. And that's it. The device is back in compliance again. You can verify that from here. The device is in compliance now. So this is how you enroll a device into Intune, and then you manage. Now let's try to push an application and then see how does that work onto a device. So let's say you want to have a set of application that needs to be installed after the device get enrolled. You can go to Microsoft Intune Client Apps and then click on Apps, and then let's add Microsoft Outlook as our first iOS application. So I say iOS apps. You have to click add, select the platform and search the app. So I will search for Outlook, this one, select. The configuration you can leave as is. If you want to have custom icons, for example, or anything else do you want to have, you can have that. There's an option to display this as a featured app on company portal, which you can do. Just click yes and then click OK, add. So you just added an application from App Store to be available on your company portal now. Now you need to assign this to users. It is better if you can do that specifically for each application. What I follow is every application has a specific app groups, so that you are not stuck with single group used for multiple applications, multiple activations. But for the sake of doing it on the lab, we'll just use the same devices. So here are the options I was talking about earlier. You can have it available for enrolled devices. It can be available with or without enrollment, and required. This is what I usually set on our corporate applications. That means if the user, for example, deletes the application, this will come back again. So I'm going to select the groups that I need to add. I'm just adding the IT Squad iOS devices. Select OK, OK, save. Now let's do a quick sync on the devices, all devices, iPad, and then I'll do a sync. Now I'll go back to the device. So I'm going to do a check settings here to force sync the application installation. And there you go. It asked us to install the application, and that's how you push applications to a device, a managed device. So I'm installing my Outlook profile now. Mails. Let's open Outlook. So as you can see, it already picked up my username and then says you need to configure this account. All I need to do is add account, and that should automatically configure my Outlook with the user profile. I don't need to add another account. I'll say maybe later. This gives you basic information about focus inbox, calendar. You can skip this and your account is set. You can enable notification so that your mails are notified here. So there you go, your Outlook is configured. So we have seen how using Intune we can enroll an iOS device on this session, and then how to push applications. So we will, on the next sessions, we will probably look at app protection policies, where you can restrict copy paste from your company approved applications to an external application, and any other device enrollment restrictions such. Please feel free to comment and then let me know what you would like to see, and then we'll add more videos onto this, specifically on iOS devices. I'll soon do a video about Android devices, not very soon probably, but it's in the plan to have an Android versus iOS configuration differences. We'll show you that. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll soon come back with another session on Office 365 or Intune. Thank you guys.